Hopefully we can start off really well with our picks this week. I'm a little iffy on the Detroit Lions Cardinals. That is going to be really close. We should have just called a tie. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Buddy Strange. This is StrangeVoodooTV, and week 1 is in the books. Oh my god, there was so much awesomeness and craziness and tragedy for some teams that happened in week 1. It was a really good first week of football. Man, I am so glad that we have football back. And let me just tell you right now, I really enjoyed not just the last play of the Saints-Texans game, but the very first play. It was really enjoyable. Here, take a look.
There's Breeze, play caller's dream.
How about from now on you call a fair game? How's that sound?
Sounds good. Anyway, this is the week 2 weekly pick'em. Let's get things started off with the win of the week from week 1. The win of the week is going to go to the Saints. Like I said, that was a really good game between both teams. The Texans really competed. I was really proud of them. Deshaun Watson looks like he's going to be an absolute beast this season. Hopkins started off a little slow. 3 drops after having 0 drops last year. Absolutely insane. But he came back, brushed off the rust, was able to get 2 touchdowns, I think 8 catches by the end of it. So the Texans were hitting on all cylinders. Seemed to lose just a little bit of a step without Jadeveon Clowney, but not too much. But on the other side, yeah, the Saints, they get the win of the week. They were able to rely on Big Nuts Lutz with the 58-yard long game winner. Very nice job by Drew Brees and the rest of the Saints. The loss of the week is going to be not the Dolphins, I know, but it's going to be the Browns. Like, we expected the Dolphins to lose, maybe not by that much, but the Browns, I picked them to win. Most everybody else did. Not everybody, but they did not live up to the hype, at least not in the first game. Everything about week 1 is going to be a little bit wacky and not what the season's actually going to be like, but the Browns didn't look like a prepared team. They looked like a team full of stars that were just trying to go through a walkthrough during an actual game. Like, it never really gelled for them. I also want to give credit to the Titans defense. Last year, I was raving about them. If you watched any of the videos last year, I was high on the Titans defense, and I'm still high on them this year. They didn't really lose anybody, and they gained people. Cameron Wake being one of them. It's going to be a really good defense. Dean Pease knows what he's doing, and because he knows what he's doing, Baker Mayfield had the game I said he was going to have if he had an off day. Remember last pick'em, I said he may have an off day where he throws 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Guess what happened? But pretty good. Baker Mayfield, I guarantee you will have an off game where he has 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Exactly that. I'm proud of myself for that one. But anyway, loss of the week, Browns. All right, players of the week, SVTV's players of the week. Let's get right down to it. Offensive player of the week is going to be Lamar Jackson, getting 5 touchdowns, over 300 yards, a perfect 158.3 passer rating. 17 of 20, where he went like, I think it was 9 in a row before, maybe 10 before an incompletion. And yeah, that's he started off the game like 9 of 9 for like 210 and 4 touchdowns. I was like, what the you know, it was crazy. And I know some of you are like, dude, what about Sammy Watkins? What about Dak Prescott? Well, this week they'll have to be honorable mentions because Lamar Jackson went off. He looked like the best pocket passing quarterback I have ever seen. And no, but he only did have 3 rushes for 6 yards on the ground, which is actually crazy to think about. I thought even with that big day he had passing, he would have ran a little bit more, but nope, that wasn't in store for week 1, and he got it done through the air rather than the ground. Really good job, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar, you said pretty much your whole offseason that you were going to throw the ball. Do you think you maybe proved to people that you were throwing the ball?
Probably not, but not bad for a running back.
But defensive player of the week is going to be Logan Ryan of the Titans. He had a big day. The Titans as a whole had a big day, but he had a big day in himself. He shined on the defense that was shining bright already. He had a sack and a half, maybe 2 sacks. I think he only got credit for half. 8 tackles and a pick on Baker Mayfield late in the 4th. Really good job. I do have some more honorable mentions. Anthony Harris of the Vikings. Sam Hubbard. I told you to watch out for Sam Hubbard. I told you. I told you when he was a rookie last year. I told you at the beginning of the season this year. Sam Hubbard is going to be someone to watch out for. He's going to do really well in the NFL, I think. And he had himself a day. 10 tackles, 2 sacks. Very good job on his part. But no, Anthony Harris with 2 picks as well. No, Logan Ryan gets it this week. Very good job, Logan. You deserve it. All right, and lastly, special teams player of the week is going to be Harrison Butker of the Chiefs. Hit all 4 of his field goals, hit all 4 of his extra points, was perfect on the day, through and throughout, had 16 points, the most of a special teams player in week 1, and he definitely deserves it. Harrison Butker, you go, buddy. All right, now everybody get your popcorn ready for SVTV's play of the week.
3rd and 2. Keenum rolling, pressure, throws. He's got a completion and a first down. It's Vernon Davis, the Angels one, who stays on his feet somehow, and he's going to brace to the end zone and get there. Touchdown, Washington.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed SVTV's Play of the Week. If you did, hit that like button down below. Anyway, let's see how we did in week 1. All right, we had a couple misfires, but we did go 73%. Our goal is 60 for the entire season. Hopefully we can keep this up. We're off to a very good start. And if you're wondering why we're going out of 15 games, it's because I don't count ties for or against me. I just leave them out completely. So it's whatever I got out of 15 games instead of 16. And damn it, like I had in the beginning, I almost called that. I was really close. I was seriously really close to calling a tie, but I was like, I can't call ties. I have to be confident in one team or the other. But I thought I'd mention it just in case, and by God, it happened. It happened, which is kind of funny, but you know. I am proud of Murray, though. He started off terrible, but he came back and showed the star qualities in the second half, mostly the 4th quarter, and did a really good job at finishing strong. That being said, yeah, 73% off to a good start. I'm really happy about that. Bills versus Jets. Man, come on, Jets. Come on. That offense looked terrible, but to be fair, both defenses played really well. But that being said, okay, I think we should get into the Week 2 pick'em and predictions. So let's do that. First off, Thursday night, we have the Buccaneers versus the Panthers. The Buccaneers actually came out and played better than I thought they were. Vernon Hargrave stepped up. He had a pick 6. I was ready to write off their defensive backfield, but Vernon Hargrave stepped up in week 1, which is pretty good. The Panthers competed with the Rams pretty nicely. They lost, but they competed with them, and I was actually kind of surprised about that. I thought the Rams would come out to a faster start, but the Panthers were able to keep up with them. Christian McCaffrey showing off how strong his knees are, almost killing Eric Weddle. That did not look good, but I think Eric Weddle's okay. The Panthers versus the Buccaneers should be an exciting one. Divisional rivals, Thursday night, coming off a short week. It should level the playing field just a little bit, but I do think the Panthers win 28-20 over the Buccaneers. I think Christian McCaffrey can break out in the second week and have a big week against that Buccaneers defense. I think without a Gerald McCoy and good run stuffers in the middle, along with not very good run stoppers on the outside. I mean, JPP's probably your best one. Definitely he's not in the lineup. Shaquille Barrett was more of a pass rusher than a run defender. Noah Spence as well. Devin White's going to be key in this game if they want to stop Christian McCaffrey, and I just think it's not going to be his night, and I think the Panthers get him. All right, next up, Cardinals versus Ravens. For the Cardinals, that is a tough second game to come into after tying with the Lions. The Ravens off to a really fast start, 59-10. I do not think that's going to happen again this week. I think the Cardinals, not trying to put shade on the Dolphins, but I think the Cardinals are a little bit more competent, certainly have a better roster. That being said, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Offensive Player of the Week for SVTV. Marquise Brown went off, had himself a really big day. Willie Snead got involved. Not gonna lie, kind of forgot he was on the Ravens, but he definitely showed that he was. Mark Ingram looked like a fresh, new Mark Ingram. It was really weird. It was a good sight to see for him. Had himself a day. That Ravens offensive line looked pretty solid. I couldn't tell if it was just Miami offense or the Baltimore Ravens defense looked pretty good as well. I'm gonna say they're pretty solid, but it was part both. On the other side, the Cardinals, their defense stepped up, played pretty good game in the second half of the Lions-Cardinals game. They did allow Matt Stafford to throw for 3 touchdowns. So that's not looking good for the Cardinals defense, having to face Lamar Jackson coming off a 5-touchdown game. And then on offense for the Cardinals, you could definitely tell that it was a college-style offense. It was blatant that it was a college-style offense, and definitely an air raid offense. Kyler Murray throwing 59 times. Like, I know they were coming from behind, but 59 times? Cliff Kingsbury, are you kidding me? Whoa. That's gonna add up on Kyler Murray if he has to throw 50 plus every game. I'm not sure how long his arm would be able to do that. But that being said, I do have the Ravens winning at home. I mean, it's at home. I have no doubt they're gonna win at home. Coming off that big of a game, I don't think it's gonna be near that big. I think it's gonna be Ravens winning 27-13 over the Cardinals. I think it's going to be a closer game. I think Ravens might have a little bit of big head syndrome where mistakes will hit them in this game and they'll be like, oh, we're going to do almost 60 points every week. We're awesome, 50 plus. On the Cardinals, are you kidding me? And just don't perform to last week's level of play, but I still think they get the win. I think the Cardinals are still trying to find themselves out and figure it out. So the Ravens get the win. All right, the Cowboys versus the Redskins. The Cowboys, whoa, they were looking good. Dak was looking good. And I'll tell you what, I really like Kellen Moore's play calls. Really smart dude. I think it was a very smart move to move on from Linehan, get Kellen Moore involved as offensive coordinator. He has the potential to be the next backup quarterback turned OC turned head coach somewhere down the line. Really smart dude again. I know it was his first game and he'll hit some growing pains for sure. It was a really good start. Even if it was the Giants, it was still good play calling. That being said, Redskins were actually off to a really good start. Vernon Davis's play, oh my lord, that was amazing. The problem is they lost Darius Geis for at least a couple weeks, and it's not looking good. Apparently, the opposite knee from last year, which he tore his ACL in, it's the opposite knee, and he's having problems. So that's both knees that have problems. AP was a healthy scratch, which no one on the Redskins was happy about. I have no idea why. But he'll have to come back and come in strong for him next week with Geis out, which I do actually believe he can do, or I guess this week, which I fully believe he can do, but it is going to be against the Cowboys defense, which is pretty stout in the run defense and gaining traction in the pass defense as well. So Case Keenum's going to have a tough day, I'm sure. The saving grace to that offense, though, is the offensive line. They should be able to hang tough for most of the game. And then Terry McLaurin, I told you, did I not tell you I would watch out for Terry McLaurin? Hey, he may be good. Watch out for him. Told you last week, hey, watch out for Terry McLaurin. And he had himself a day, 7 catches, 157 yards, I believe, something like that. And he looks like he's going to be the breakout player at wide receiver for the Redskins, at least at this point, which they really needed somebody to, because as I stated last week, I don't know what they're doing at wide receiver. They need to figure themselves out. And Terry McLaurin looks like a good, capable answer at this point. He reminds me a lot of Michael Thomas from the Saints. A lot of Michael Thomas. I'm not saying he's anywhere near that. Definitely not yet. But he's definitely, in my opinion, looking a lot like him, skill set wise. And if he can be anything like Michael Thomas for the Redskins, that was a really good pickup. That being said, I think the Cowboys go into Washington, and I think they win 31-17 over the Redskins. I think the Redskins just won't be able to stop them on defense, and then on offense, I think the Cowboys defense will be able to handle them for most of the game, if not the entire thing. All right, the Colts versus the Titans. The Colts coming off a pretty solid game against one of the most complete teams in the NFL at this point, not just the AFC, in the whole NFL. Chargers, really good on both sides. Even without Melvin Gordon, they're still good on offense. Phillip Rivers proved that. Eckler proved that. And I'm proud of Eckler for his performance. That was really nice. That being said, the Colts, I told you, don't sleep on them. I told you. Did I not tell you? I had a whole 3-minute rant on why they can still be good. And I'm not backing down on that. I know I picked the Chargers, which I'm glad I did, because they did. That helps my pick'em record. That being said, I told you not to sleep on them, and they came out, and they did a really good job. Brought it to overtime, and just couldn't get it done in overtime. They came to play against what should be one of the best teams in the NFL this year. That being said, the Titans went into Cleveland and kicked the Browns' ass. Even Odell Beckham Jr. wearing a $350,000 watch to flex on him got his ass whooped by the Titans. Okay, Kevin Byard wasn't having any of that $350,000 watch shit. You kidding me? Logan Ryan wasn't having it. They didn't buy in. Delaney Walker quoted the late and great Denny Green in his post-press conference.
I'm going to tell you again, man. They were who we thought they were. Y'all can crown them if you want to crown them.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
That was pretty funny. But yeah, the Browns, that didn't look like a good first outing. They haven't won an opening day game since 2004 with Jeff Garcia, and unfortunately for them, that streak continues, and they'll have to try to break that next season. But that being said, the Titans were one of the main reasons why they came in with Mariota throwing 3 touchdowns, looked really solid, and that defense stepped up. Cameron Wake, almost my defense player of the week as well, got himself a safety, 2.5 sacks, I think. Looked like he traveled back in time to when he was in his prime with the Dolphins, looked really good. And that defense under Dean Pease continues to dominate into this season, which is pretty cool. And I think if it were in Indy, this is going to be a tough one. I think if it were in Indianapolis, the Colts would win, but it is in Nashville. And I think just because it's a home crowd, they're going to win. The Titans are going to win 27-26. Oh, Lord. Yes, it's going to be really close. Probably not that exact score, but I think it's going to be really close for both teams. I would not be surprised if the Colts win this one, but I think just with the momentum that the Titans have, that defense is strong, they're feeling good, and that offense, Mariota found his guy who stepped up in A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had himself a day 3 catches, 100 yards. Really good first outing for him. Finally, someone stepped up. Adam Humphries still in the mix. Of course, Corey Davis, Delaney Walker. He has some targets to work with. Derrick Henry looked really good. And without Taylor Lewan, the Titans' offensive line still looked pretty solid against a fearsome Cleveland Browns defensive front 7, so that's going to be cool when they get him back, how that offensive line is going to even take it up to the next level, which is insane to think about. But the Titans win in a nail-biter against the Colts. Still don't sleep on the Colts. Even though I've picked them to lose 2 weeks in a row, still don't sleep on them. Hey, they started off 1-5 last season. Just think about that. And they made the playoffs. Just watch out for them. All right, the Seahawks going into Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. The Steelers coming off a brutal loss to the Patriots. I knew they were going to lose, but I didn't think it was going to be near that bad. I thought it was going to be a pretty close game, decided by a touchdown or a field goal, at the most 10 points, but Jesus Christ, it was 30. And yeah, the Steelers looked out of sync. That being said, the Seahawks also having some troubles on defense. Andy Dalton is now the new league leading passer. John Ross looked amazing. 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. John Ross, this might be his breakout year, and it has to be for him if he wants to stay in the league, still be a starter in the league at least. So that was good. Good for him. Andy Dalton as well. Zach Taylor, that offense looked pretty good. I know it was a loss, but it looked pretty good. But the Seahawks, on offense, they were able to get it done. Russell Wilson type stuff, won them the game, but they didn't look good, and that was at home. And if you struggle there, which is one of the toughest places to play, that's a tough one. I know it's week 1. Everything's crazy in week 1. You don't really know how a team is going to do till week 3 or 4. Week 2 is a little bit better of an indicator, but week 1, everything's rusty and crazy and a little abnormal and a little bit of an outlier week. That being said, I do think the Steelers win at home 28-24 over the Seahawks. I think Pittsburgh bounces back. They're a little bit mad. They're back at home. They were at Gillette last week. I think they're back at home. They get the home crowd behind them, and I think they're able to squeak it out against the Seahawks. But then again, this was a tough one for me to decide. I went back and forth for a while. The Seahawks very well may come in and win, but I think the Steelers defend their house this week. All right, the Bills versus the Giants. The Bills squeaking it out against the Jets. Josh Allen found his new favorite target in John Brown. Looked really good. Devin Singletary had himself a pretty good day. 70 yards on the ground, something like that. That defense looked really good. Either that or the Jets offense looked so terrible that it made the Bills defense look really good. That being said, the Giants looked alright on offense, at least better than I thought they'd look. Their offensive line seems much improved from the past couple of seasons. Zeitler was a really good addition for him. Solder keeping his end of the bargain so far. Will Hernandez seems like he's stepping it up a little bit. Not bad first week for the offensive line as a whole. The rest of the team, the defense, that was hard. That was a hard game to watch if you were a lover of defense or the Giants. That being said, it's going to be at home. I think the Giants squeak it out. They usually win one that you're like, nah, they shouldn't win that one. But I think the Bills are going to pull the Bills. You know, they're going to be a little bit bipolar the first couple of weeks. Bills usually win a couple that they should, lose a couple that they shouldn't, stuff like that in the first couple of weeks especially. And I think the Giants get them here 20-16 over the Bills. Again, I think the Bills defense is going to do really well in stopping Eli Manning in the passing offense, but I don't think they can stop Saquon Barkley this week. I think he's going to be majority of the yardage and points. And then I think that on the other side, the Bills offense might not be able to do it, might not be able to push it in there this week. That being said, it could easily be the Bills. Week 2 is a hard week to pick, I'll tell you. All right, 49ers versus Bengals. Bengals coming out. Again, Zach Taylor's offense looked really good in week 1 against a very respectable defense in the Seahawks. The 49ers were able to come out and beat Tampa. To me, that seems like a pretty easy task. It was a little harder than I thought it was going to be, but Richard Sherman coming back with the pick 6. Their defense looked solid on offense. My boy Richie James Jr. getting a 39-yard touchdown on his one and only catch. All right, Richie. I'm so proud of him. That was awesome. But that being said, I really wanted to pick the Bengals, but I picked the 49ers 28-20 over the Bengals. I think they go into Cincinnati and get them, but damn it, oh man, and if it is the Bengals, I'm going to be really mad, but damn, I was so close to writing in the Bengals, I'm not going to lie, but I do think the 49ers, that defense is going to be a little bit too much, but then again, that's what I thought about the Seahawks. On paper, to me, the 49ers defense looks a little bit more complete than the Seahawks defense. And then on offense, I think, again, just a little bit more complete on the Seahawks. On paper, they actually have the tight end, wide receivers, maybe on par with the Seahawks. I'll give them the Seahawks do have the way better quarterback, but the offensive line of the 49ers is, I think, a little bit better than the Seahawks, and that's what matters as well. And I think the 49ers get the Bengals at home, even though, man, oh, so close. All right, the Chargers versus the Lions. The Lions, of course, just totally choking that game away. Came out with a tie, which isn't the worst thing that could happen. Of course, a loss, but they should have had the win. That being said, they didn't. The Chargers went into overtime and actually got it done. Both teams went into overtime. The Chargers, the better team, was able to actually drive it down and win. So that is why I'm picking the Chargers to win 28-14 over the Lions. That being said, I kind of forgot last week that Danny Amendola was a thing. So I apologize to him and the Lions for calling out the wide receiver core and not mentioning Danny Amendola. He's a guy that can get tough catches controlled. but I don't think that's going to get it done here. Trey Flowers might have himself a good game, but I don't think that's enough either. Eckler proved to be a pretty good secondary option, and I think Phillip Rivers can get it done. Chargers defense definitely, I think, can get it done, so Chargers win. Alright, the Vikings versus the Packers at Lambeau. This is going to be a really good classic matchup. The Vikings showing that they have a really good defense. Kirk Cousins showing yet again that they don't want him to throw the ball. Only 10 attempts throwing. Are you kidding me, Mike Zimmer? But that being said, Dalvin Cook was having a really good day, and you should always try to feed the hot hand as much as possible. But oof. Okay, Packers only putting 10 points up, but that being said, their defense looked phenomenal. I know it was against the Bears offense and Mitch Trubisky and everything, but they looked like a really improved team, and they did really well on defense. That being said, again, this is one of those ones. If it was in Minnesota, I'd probably pick the Vikings, but it's in Lambeau. I'm going to pick the Packers to win 20-17. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I think it's just going to be a little too much for the Vikings. I think that Packers defense continues its really good play into week 2. I think Kirk Cousins struggles. I think Blake Martinez is a really good matchup for Dalvin Cook. I think he can corral him along with Zadarius Smith, Rashawn Gary, and the like. I think the Vikings are able to stop the Packers on offense a good number of times, but not enough to win. Alright, the Jaguars versus the Texans. Oh my god, Nick Foles. Ooh, he's going to be out till at least week 8. They put him on IR. They did go out and get Josh Dobbs. He's definitely not going to start. It's going to be Gardner Minshew, and he started off really hot. 12 of 12, I believe. 147 yards, something like that. Pretty good start. And then Gardner went on to throw 2 touchdowns, I believe. So a pretty good first outing for the rookie out of Washington State. I'd watch out for him until Nick Foles gets back. And he may be Nick Foles' Nick Foles in the long run. No, Fu Manchu is on the rise, baby. No, Gardner cutting the Chiefs up like they were grass. He looked pretty good and should be an alright substitute for Nick Foles in his absence. That defense was ripped up. I mean, ripped up by Samuel Watkins and Patrick Mahomes. I'll give it to the Chiefs. I think it was more the Chiefs than the Jaguars' defense just being bad, but they did not look good. Oosh, ouch. Jalen Ramsey was nowhere to be seen. He burnt to a crisp, and he was dust by the end of the game. And then on the other side, the Texans had themselves a really good game. They just weren't able to get out on top by the end of it. Will Lutz hit a 58-yarder. Gotta respect that. It's tough for Deshaun Watson and the Texans. They played really hard. They played really good. And it just happened to be whoever had the ball last won. That just happened to be the Saints. Drew Brees driving them down the field. Really nice drive down the field. And then Will Lutz, being a baller, able to kick that game winner. But that being said, it's in Houston. The Jaguars, I just don't think are a team gonna upset the Texans in this one. I think the Texans win 34-17. The Jaguars are gonna have a tough season. Alright, the Patriots versus the Dolphins in Miami. Okay, before you say anything, come on, they win in Miami. They always beat the Patriots in Miami. That's where Patrick Chung gets his cocaine from. Are you kidding me? And that's where Robert Kraft solicits his prostitutes in an Asian massage parlor. It's Miami, baby. Let's go crazy. It's Florida. That being said, the Patriots look really good, and the Dolphins don't. The Dolphins don't. And my reasoning is Brian Flores is a Patriots sleeper agent sent to Miami to continue the destruction of the Miami organization. So Bill Belichick and the Patriots can get back at Miami for being the only undefeated from start to finish team in the NFL, because they weren't. They weren't. The Patriots will forever hold that grudge against Miami until the destruction is complete and Miami is no longer a team. That is the truth. Anyway, no. That being said, that took a strange turn there, buddy. I don't think the Dolphins get it done this season at home versus the Patriots. They were able to escape with the Miami Miracle last season. Jay Cutler was able to get them the season before, but this season, I don't think it happens. I don't think they score 59, but I think the Patriots score 30 points to 9 points for the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, they're not going to be able to do it this season. Sorry, Ryan Fitzmagic. I don't think this season is your season, bud. Alright, the Chiefs versus the Raiders. Oakland had a really good showing against the Broncos. Their defense looked way better than last season, and way better than I could have ever predicted. The offense with Josh Jacobs looked like a really good running back. Their offensive line looked like it was not worth the money, but worth the starting roles they were given. They held up really nicely against a fierce Broncos pass rush, or what should have been a fierce Broncos pass rush. And that was without Gabe Jackson on the field, so when they get him back, and Richie Incognito, by the way. Gabe Jackson was more of the problem of not having. That being said, the Chiefs looked like they were a team that, you would play in Madden with. It looked really, really good for them. And I think they can expose the Raiders defense this week. I do think the Chiefs win 35-23. I think the Raiders, even at home, they won't get it against the Chiefs. But if they do, I will be very impressed. But no, Chiefs win. Alright, the Saints versus the Rams. The Rams coming off a pretty solid win against the Panthers. The Saints coming off a fantastic, amazing, almost probably best game of week 1, or at least most exciting week 1 win over the Texans. The Saints coming all the way to Los Angeles, and I think they come to win, baby. I think they are a mad team. They still haven't got it over that. Sean Payton's like, God dang it, I'm going to pull out all the tricks, man. I'm going to do it. And I think they heavily utilized Taysom Hill in this one. Do some cool trick plays. Alvin Kamara is going to be a big factor as well. They're going to make sure to get Michael Thomas the ball for sure. And I think they narrowly escape with a win, 24-21 over the Rams. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams win for sure. I think the Saints just have that little bit of a chip, and I think it gets them past the Rams in this one. I think the Rams looked a little bit rusty coming out against the Panthers, and the Panthers are worse than the Saints. At least in my opinion, I think the Saints are better, and I think the Saints can get them in this one. Alright, the Bears versus the Broncos. Vic Fangio actually gets to stay at home while the Bears visit him. But the Bears are coming in to Mile High. The Bears coming off a rough week. The Broncos coming off a rough week. Both rough weeks on offense. And I guess in the Broncos' case, rough defense as well. But the Bears are coming off actually a pretty good week on defense. A really good week on defense. That being said, I do think the Broncos stay strong at home in their first home game. I think Vic Fangio, he's trying to get adjusted to being on the field. It just didn't work in week 1. Joe Flacco trying to get acclimated, didn't have a lot of playing time in the preseason, so it doesn't help when you don't have a lot of live game action. Phillip Lindsay didn't play a lot in the preseason. He was trying to get acclimated, and he hadn't played really at all for a while because his broken wrist. That being said, I think the Broncos are able to stun somewhat the Bears 26-13. They probably won't score that much, actually. They're probably 21-13. But I'm going to leave it up 26-13. I don't think the Bears offense can outperform Broncos defense. Some of those points, the 26, might even come from the Broncos defense. Alright, the Eagles versus Falcons, Sunday Night Football, baby. Carson Wentz versus Matty Ice. The Falcons coming off a bad day against the Vikings, and the Eagles coming off a weird kind of day versus the Redskins where they should have outright won, and it was a little iffy there for a little bit, but they came back and then won. The Eagles' defense looked kind of not up to par. The Falcons, the whole team didn't look up to par. Deshaun Jackson did have himself a big day, and that was actually pretty good. I'm glad to see him come home. I tweeted it and posted it a couple different places that I'm glad to see that Deshaun Jackson. I'm glad to see he got number 10 back too. I think Mac Hollins had it the past couple of seasons. It's good to see him back at number 10 and performing really well as a deep threat for Carson Wentz and the Eagles. That being said, I do have here, I've written down on paper the Falcons winning 23-21. It's at home. But that being said, I kind of want to change it. After this past week and thinking about it, I kind of want to change that. Now that I'm thinking Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz, who didn't get the ball a lot, but probably will this week to make up for it. Oh, that offensive line probably going to stop Grady Jarrett, who was definitely the Falcons' best player on defense. Best player on the whole team this past week. Okay, That's it. I'm changing it. Eagles win 23-21 over the Falcons. It's a gut feeling. Wouldn't have helped me or hurt me with the Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions last week when I did that. But because they tied, of course. I'm going to change it this week. And by God, if the Eagles and Falcons tie, I'm going to lose it. Oh, man. Browns vs. Jets, last game of the week, Monday Night Football. Booger McFarland, everybody, are you excited? I am not. I'm not. I'm excited for the two teams playing. The battle of the sophomore quarterbacks continues this week. Sam Darnold didn't look great, but he seemed to really like Jamison Crowder, one of his newer targets, getting him like 11 catches, 12 catches, something like that, but only for 70-something yards, so it wasn't outstanding. 11 catches, 77 yards, something like that. It was a lot of catches, not a lot of yardage. The defense of the Jets looked really good. The Browns totally imploded on both sides of the ball. Their defense did look pretty solid for a lot of the game, though, outside of their pass defense letting Marcus Mariota throw 3 touchdowns on them. But that being said, I don't know. I think it's going to sound stupid, and I'll probably regret it later, but I think the Browns bounce back, and I think the Browns go in to New York, or New Jersey, but New York, and I do think the Browns pull it out 28-17, even on that Jets defense. I think, man, how many times am I going to get burned on calling the Browns having a good game? I should just quit it. I should just quit it. But no, I think week 1 was not a fluke. The Titans really played well, and I think they're going to continue to play well. On defense at least. But I think there was just a lot of pieces. They didn't have it all together. Now I think they come in. They know what to expect. They have a little bit better understanding of how to fit the pieces together. I think they come in a little angry. Baker Mayfield's feeling dangerous. And he goes out and balls against the Jets defense. And then the Jets, I think Adam Gase, whose specialty is offense, scored 16 points. And 8 of those points were the defense scoring. That's kind of disappointing. That's really disappointing. You want to go out and get Le'Veon Bell. You have Sam Darnold, who should be a pretty good quarterback. Jamison Crowder, Robbie Anderson, the offensive line's improved, and you can only score. Oh, man. Nope. That being said, again, Browns win. Alright, everybody, that's going to do it for Week 2 Weekly Pick'em. Hope you guys enjoyed. A lot of games this week, 16 of them. No buys. Not yet, not till next week, so this episode's probably going to be a little bit longer as well. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Comment anything down below. Again, Weekly Pick'em isn't a thing on the NFL website anymore, so I'm going to have a copy and paste Weekly Pick'em schedule in the description down below, so feel free to copy and paste that into the comments and write who you think is going to win for your own personal weekly pick'em. Play against me down in the comments below. That should be awesome. And if you don't want to do that, feel free to leave a comment what you think on my opinions, what you think on individual games, bold predictions, anything like that. I'd be so happy to hear from you in the comments down below. But that being said, so glad football's back. Can't wait for the next 21 weeks of football. This is so awesome. And as always, I'm Buddy Strange. This is StrangeVoodooTV. Keep it strange, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. And peace out.